Hey, what's up? No, it's been a minute since you heard from me, but now we back in the game. Promising to continue where we left off before. Player versus player continues. This time, the player versus player is a lot different, but not too much, but very closer in similarities. Kenyon Martin and Amar'e Stoudemire. Now, most of you all will remember these players because some of these was in your era. What's up, Michelle's daughter? Now, this is a Coco, we'll see you. My Patreon brother. You see, people are split. Now, while people are split, let's get to why they're split. Because this is why we try to explain to y'all the difference between reality and what's not reality. Now, here's the problem. The last video got cut off for some mysterious reason. And we never found out like why certain things happen, why certain things happen, and other things just didn't happen. But forget all that. I never said Tim Duncan was better than Kobe Bryant. I simply listed the comparisons of the two and showed you it was a lot closer than what you guys were giving it. There was a lot of things Tim couldn't do, but I also said the X factor is what made Kobe Bryant what he was. When the structure fell down, Tim didn't have there was no answer from Tim. If the structure is broken and you need that basket from somewhere, they just couldn't play out of the system. The system was always broken in Los Angeles, and it was just going to end up in Kobe's hands anyway. So you could rest assured Kobe wasn't going to let them go down. Okay, somebody's waking up over there. I hear you guys making the comparisons. So let's get to it. Amar'e Stoudemire, when he was picked by the Phoenix Suns, he was Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year. So let that sink in. Not only was he Rookie of the Year, he was one of the most impactful players that year. From within the red or whatever they call the paint, he was finishing above the rim, and there was nothing they could do to stop him. He had explosive hops. He was the player you wanted to play for. You wanted to be on the court with him. He was gifted. Now, the thing is, he came in 2003. Kenyon came in 2001. And once he came in, his role was different. Kenyon has never averaged 20 points a season in his entire career. He was never that guy. He was always meant to be more of a Sean Marion type of player, a complementary piece. But he was put in a bracket to where people would assume he was that guy. Now, Kenyon is exceptional when you put him in the right spots to let him be great. What Kenyon Martin does that Amar'e Stoudemire was never really good at is passing. As a guy, he was way more astute, rather, when it came to the vision on the court. Stoudemire gets the ball, it's for him to score. He's not looking to pass the ball out and get a lot of assists. Kenyon would gather a lot of assists. Plus, he was a better defender than Stoudemire. Light years better. Don't mean that Stoudemire didn't play defense. He did. But vision on the court. Kenyon had better vision. He would always see where the ball was, and he gathered a lot of steals in his career based off of that. A lot of people didn't give him credit for that. His awareness. That's why he was able to make a contribution to almost every team he was on. Plus, he played with another superstar on his team, and that propelled them to go to certain heights and extents. I mean, Stoudemire played with Nash, and Nash got, what, 2 MVPs? I'm just saying. Stoudemire was a beast. But injuries played a part in hindering his career. It hindered him in the playoffs. They had to go without him. Now things get rough, you know. Yeah, Kenyon was tougher than Stoudemire, but Stoudemire was no punk. That's the thing. Stoudemire wasn't soft. He never played soft. It's the injuries held him back a little bit. He came back off that one knee injury. He had the same knee injury as Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway never recovered after his knee injury. Never got his hops back. Never got that explosion again. And the difference was surgeons. If Penny Hardaway would have had the surgeon that Stoudemire had, and the way he did the surgery, as the way it was done back when Penny had his surgery, it's done a lot differently now because of modern technology. Penny's career would have continued, and he would have been at the same playing field. You wouldn't have lost the explosion and quickness in his knee. Stoudemire had to go through a whole extensive rehab, and it was purposeful, where he basically didn't lose a step. He was high flying and dunking all over the place. And even when he went to the Knicks, he didn't slow down. But the Knicks didn't build the right pieces around him. They never got him the right point guard he needed to bring Stoudemire along. You saying they fear Kmart? Why would they fear him? I never saw nothing fearful about him, really. Lemons, baby. What do you mean had a winning season everywhere he played? Yeah, I would say that. Tim Thomas was never scared. What are you talking about? It's To me, it's hard to pick, but Kenyon Martin isn't a franchise piece. Stoudemire is a franchise player. He's a difference maker. You build around him. You could build around him. But it's another situation with Kobe and Tim Duncan. The comparisons are almost mirror the same. Kobe was a franchise piece. You could build around Kobe Bryant. Tim Duncan is a piece you add him, and your team goes all the way to the sky. And they remind me a lot of each other because Kenyon can handle the ball at the top, and he has great court vision. He knows how to pass. He can get. I think he got more steals than Stoudemire. I don't know if he has more blocks. I doubt it. But his defensive rate is up. Stoudemire was a much better free throw shooter, and that's where Kenyon he lacked. He was probably about 40%, 50% shooter that I've seen. He was a terrible free throw shooter. Stoudemire was not. He was light years better, and that's one thing that was surprising for a big man like him. Now, threes would never in Kenyon's game or his game. They probably shot the same percentage. Okay. Now, this is me just telling you off my brain. They probably shot the same percentage because I don't remember any of them shooting threes. Now, all I can tell you is that Amar'e Stoudemire was a better player. I would get more out of him, I think, than probably Kenyon. I don't need a player that's gonna fight some people. Kenyon was great where he was. He played with J Kidd. He played with J Kidd, and he had the right point guard to bring him out. He had J Kidd. J Kidd came out. There you go. You got Stoudemire and you got Nash. Nash is MVP. Need I say more? Stoudemire has been to what? 6 NBA All-Star games? 6. Kenyon Martin has only been to 1 that I can remember. I remember him only 1 time being an All-Star. Somebody said 2. Maybe. But I only remember him going once. But I remember seeing Stoudemire there at least, what, 2 times? 6 times. To me, Stoudemire's the better player. I can get more production out of him, even though Kenyon has better court awareness and can move the ball around. I need that guy that I know I can get a go-to basket from. That's not going to be Kenyon all the time. Kenyon's not going to step up and be that go-to guy. When I need Kenyon to get me that go-to, that real basket, I know I could get that from Stoudemire before I can get that from Kenyon. And I know if they foul Stoudemire, he going to go there and hit 2 free throws. If they foul Kenyon, he might blow 2. I can't have that down the stretch. Kenyon Martin has never averaged 20 points a game in his life. Kmart is not going to give you 20 and 10. Now, defensively, he has great court awareness. Great court awareness is key. I'm not saying Kenyon's a bum or anything like that. He's definitely not. Kenyon is very good at court awareness. Like I was saying, he gets a lot of steals. He moves around because he knows where he is on the court at all times. Now, Stoudemire is the guy that's going to be in deep. So if somebody comes near the paint, he's going to get some blocks. Kenyon wasn't going to get you a lot of blocks. I know people keep sending me clips. They're like, look at this clip. Kmart dunked on Stoudemire. I'm like, okay, but I guarantee there's some clips with Stoudemire and dunked on him. No, we're doing a player versus player comparison. I mean, he could have been. He was up there for when he was rookie of the year. He damn well could have got MVP, but he was going up against Allen Iverson. He was going against who? AI, LeBron was coming in the league. I forgot who got it that year. Probably Nash. So his teammate kept getting the MVP awards. But he was up against Shaq, Kobe. You know, you in the West. It was crazy back then. It's surprising. None of them ever won an NBA title. But let's talk about all NBA teams, right? All NBA teams. I know Stoudemire has been to the All-Star game 6 times. He's been on 5 all NBA teams. Kenyon Martin has never been on an all NBA team. That means first team, second team, third team. He's never been there. Stoudemire was NBA first team once. Stoudemire averaged 8 rebounds for his entire career. Kenyon Martin averaged about 7. But you got to look at the system that they played in. Phoenix played in the highest tempo in basketball history. Next to the Denver Nuggets, back when they had the highest points in NBA history, when they came in with that system that they had in Denver, which is similar to the 7 seconds or less. No matter what, that ball's coming out in 7 seconds. They're going to run transition up and down the court. Loyola Marymount ran this system through the NCAA, which got them to the tournament. They had the Hank Gathers situation. You know the rest. Bo Kimball. They lost to UNLV. They ran that offense. So the 7 seconds or less system is what was running the NBA, and that's why Phoenix got all of these wins. Stoudemire could play in that system because he hit the run and gun. So they had about the same assists. They had about 2 assists a game, if that. But he's a finisher. Kenyon averaged more steals. They averaged about the same in blocks, but total points. Kenyon never got 10,000 points in his entire career, and he played 15 years. Stoudemire played 14 years and got about 16,000 points. I'm just saying. Total rebounds. Kenyon played 15 years. Stoudemire played 14. Kenyon Martin has 5,159. Stoudemire has 6,632. Total assists, Kenyon got more. He's got 1,400. Stoudemire got 1,000. Total steals, Kenyon got 893. And thank you for this stat note. I appreciate you guys. And Stoudemire 636, like I was saying. He was going to have a lot of more steals. Blocks. Kenyon got about 800 blocks. Stoudemire got over 1,000. And let's look at this. As much as Stoudemire was injured throughout his career, he played 14 years. Kenyon Martin has played 15 years. Would you not know Kenyon Martin was more hurt and missed more games than Stoudemire did? He played 757. Stoudemire played in 846. Field goal percentage, Kenyon Martin shot 48%. Amar'e Stoudemire shot 53%. Right? What I tell you, 3-point percentage, exactly the same at 23%. Stoudemire is a 76% free throw shooter. Kenyon Martin is a 62%. Okay, well, he's higher than I thought he was. I thought he was in the 50s. Points per game, Amar'e Stoudemire, best season. Best season was 2005, where he averaged 26 points a game. Kenyon's best season was in 2004, where he averaged 16.7. His best rebounding season, both of them had it in 2007, where Kenyon averaged 10. Amar'e was like 9.7 assists a game, where 2011 and 2002, they both averaged 2.6, same number. Best steals, same thing, 1.5, 1.2, same. And blocks was about the same. So the comparison chart don't really lie. For a career, Kenyon has averaged 12.9 points a game, Stoudemire 18.7. Now, when it comes to playoff time, Stoudemire's numbers went up. And in 2005, he was averaging almost 30 points a game in the playoffs. Kenyon's best production in the playoffs was that same 2004 season, where he averaged 19 points. His rebound shot up to 11. Stoudemire's shot up to 12 in 2007. Kenyon Martin assists shot up almost double in 2003 in the playoffs. Stoudemire's kind of stayed the same. Steals per game, Kenyon's kind of went up. Stoudemire slightly stayed the same. Blocks in the playoffs, Stoudemire blocks goes up. So this is the point where you pick. Who did you think was better? Who would you want on your team? I already told you I'm taking Stoudemire. No doubt. All the way. Amar'e Stoudemire. Not even close. Well, injuries happen. I can't blame the guy if he got hurt. But you got Chris Paul, you know, what could you say? But don't worry, guys. We'll return. We'll do this again. Y'all can make suggestions on what players you want to see compared to whom. I just don't want to do the obvious. I'm not going to do Jordan, Kobe. We're not going to do all those LeBron, Kobe Bryant, and all that stuff. We want to talk about some other players that don't get that light. That would be great comparisons. And you can always donate to the Cash App if you can, if your city ain't locked down and they got you working.